The game Iron Lung begins with this text. Decades ago, every known star and habitable planet vanished, leaving only those who were on space stations and starships. This event became known as the Quiet Rapture. With supplies dwindling and infrastructure crumbling, survivors are searching for any trace of natural resources in a universe of barren moons, lit by the ghost light of vanishing stars. One such moon holds a strange anomaly, an ocean of blood. You are a convict, tasked with exploring this anomaly in a makeshift submarine nicknamed the Iron Lung. It was not designed for this depth, so you will be welded inside and the forward window closed. There was no time for training. This text is so evocative, so perfect, it does most of the heavy lifting for the game. It's all you need to know going in. The entire story and quest is carried within this. It's rare to see such a small amount of text carry so much weight. I knew nothing else about Iron Lung, but this was enough to pique my interest. I heard about Iron Lung third hand, from a YouTuber talking about another YouTuber who had made a film adaptation of the game, starring in it and writing it himself. I didn't know who Markiplier was, so I was very much the late arrival to this party, but the description grabbed me. I can get behind a sci-fi horror game with a lone man in a submarine, in an ocean of blood, in a universe where the stars have disappeared. So I give you my very first game versus movie, where I'll compare the movie to the game it was based on. First, a spoiler warning. This game is best approached knowing nothing. It's the most fun when you have as little idea what to expect as possible. And to that end, if you're at all intrigued by the game, go play it and don't listen to anything further. Just go, I'll still be here. It is very fun, and worth a couple of dollars it costs. To talk about the game and the movie together, I need to get into the specifics. But you should go play the game. It's fun and it's short. Once in a while, I try an indie game, and I almost invariably get bored. I feel like it's rare that an indie game is actually any good. Iron Lung was almost the definition of an indie game. It was made by one guy, David Szymanski, and it's actually really good. You begin the game in a sub as it's descending into the ocean of blood on a moon. You get no training. Like any great game, you learn by moving the sub around. Your mission is to go to a list of coordinates on a map and take pictures of what you find there. That's it. That's the whole game. The graphics are basic, and the entire game happens in the sub. So the first thing you have to do is figure out where you are and how to move around. And all you get are some directional control buttons at the front and a button for the X-ray camera at the back. There's a mostly useless computer terminal and a scrap of paper from the previous operator that says that this mission is an execution. With no view outside, you learn how to use your proximity sensors to move the sub around. Then the gameplay is all about navigating to Cartesian coordinates. I spent the whole time playing, muttering numbers aloud and figuring out directions. This was very fun, and I honestly have no idea why it was fun since it's like a high school math class. It's surprisingly challenging to navigate XY space using only coordinates. It feels like it should be boring, but it's not. When you get to a spot, you take a picture, and then you get to see the bones of a leviathan. Your ship is an absolute piece of crap, and it starts falling apart almost immediately. The oxygen levels decline, and you realize this ship isn't going to make it. I was dead set on getting all my pictures before it failed. In addition to the ship failing, you start seeing things in your periphery. My absolute favorite moment in the game came at one point when a proximity sensor started going off, and it wouldn't stop. I thought it was broken, which seemed on brand for the sub. I thought I'd have to manage with a broken sensor. I went to go take a picture, and lo and behold, there's a gigantic eye looking back at me. I laughed out loud. Not a broken sensor, but a leviathan hanging on the ship. It got bored and left, and I continued on my photo tour. More and more of the ship fails until you're waist deep in blood and still rushing to get the last photo before the whole thing blows apart. You get to the final coordinates, and your ship is shaking and leaking and shooting steam everywhere, and you go to take the last picture. You turn around to go to the camera button, and your ship is eaten alive by a leviathan. Credits roll. This game was fun. I don't even understand why it was fun. The gameplay is 95% navigating Cartesian coordinates, which should not be fun. And yet, it is. I completed the whole game in one sitting in about an hour and a half. Given a task like this, I will complete it obsessively. Must get all the pictures. Sub will explode, but I will get all the pictures. The quality of the game comes down to excellent design. It's a short game that offloads all of the imagination into your own head. It sets up the universe with a few paragraphs of text, and then lets you see almost nothing. You're blind in a failing sub, and your mind is probably failing too. This is like a very dark Subnautica on a Lovecraftian moon. I finished the game and immediately wanted a sequel. David Szymanski, can I please have a sequel on another moon? I want a bigger map with more weird stuff. I played the first one obsessively. I want to mutter Cartesian coordinates on a bigger, more complicated map. I enjoyed the game a lot, but I couldn't see how you'd make a movie out of this thing. Like I said, 95% of the game was piloting to coordinates. There's a very spare amount of plot other than that. I wasn't sure how you could draw this out to movie length, but I was more than willing to find out. Enter YouTuber Mark Fishbach, aka Markiplier, who runs a very popular channel on YouTube where he plays and reviews video games. I think he maxed out his YouTube levels, and so he decided to go make a movie. He licensed Iron Lung, wrote the screenplay, funded the entire picture himself, and starred in it. While this might seem crazy, it's pretty in line with making content on YouTube. To make a video on YouTube, you have to wear all the hats. You write, record, edit, and are the star of your own production. I think almost every YouTuber was at some point a one-person production. That's the secret, the difference between professional shows and YouTube. YouTube is usually just one person doing everything on their own. I certainly am. Markiplier's approach is really just a return to low-budget indie filmmaking. There used to be a vibrant world of low-budget cinema, with people taking cameras out and making cheap movies just for the fun of it. The Blair Witch Project in the 90s was the last big indie success I can think of. Markiplier leveraged his enormous following to help get the movie into theaters after distributors initially refused to show the film. By the time I saw it, the film was already doing quite well and is now being shown internationally. Once theaters saw that it would make money, they got on board. It's currently passing $40 million at the box office on a $3 million budget. So what's it like? It's fun. It's kind of great. The movie takes the barest of bare-bones plots and somehow stretches it out to 2 hours. Mark stars as the guy in the sub, and as in the game, the film begins with him inside the sub as it descends. Unlike the game, however, his ship is knocked around by the Leviathans almost immediately and is brought back up to have a grabber arm installed. We get to see some other people outside the window then too, like the commander who's leading this mission. He goes back down and things happen. Honestly, I'm not super clear on the plot here. It involves a lot of talking to himself, or the commander, or to ghosts, or to eldritch gods. He finds another wrecked sub and gets the data off of its drive. His sub is leaking blood all around him by then, and by the end, he ends up as a strange infected thing in a failing submarine. I had a hard time following the plot, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it didn't matter. This wasn't a great movie by average Hollywood standards, and yet it was kind of awesome. Sure, the writing and the pacing are rough, and I feel like a better editor could have trimmed 10 or 15 minutes out and made this a much better film. But man, it looks really cool. Where the movie delivers most is a place most movies just don't care about anymore. Iron Lung was a solidly fun movie. This was the most fun I've had at the movies in a while. The movie takes a really unique premise and delivers a surprisingly stylish take on the subject. It looks great. There's something there of an early James Cameron project, the pure cinematic joy of an iron submarine in an ocean of blood. I liked this movie way more than I liked the latest Avatar movie. Granted, I hated the most recent Avatar movie, and actually considered leaving partway through, but it's worth taking a moment to appreciate that I had way more fun at this YouTuber's $3 million movie than at James Cameron's $400 million piece of junk. Markiplier's crazy, bloody spectacle was something I haven't seen before. Yes, it was a bit rough. Yes, it could have been more polished. But it was completely unique, and I'm really glad I saw it on a big screen. A man losing his mind, drowning in an ocean of blood, really deserves a big screen. Mark is a terrific actor, too. He gives a great performance. Watching him lose his mind was wonderful. I think he's a bona fide movie star now. So, for game versus movie, I honestly had a great time with both. But if I had to choose one, I'd say the movie for the pure crazy spectacle of the thing. However, rather than either or, I recommend both. I had a great time with the game, and I had a great time with the movie. So, yeah, both. Side notes. As a fellow YouTuber, allow me to congratulate Markiplier on his well-deserved success. I join the honor guard of YouTubers in hailing his triumph. I've never really understood why, but being a YouTuber is completely disreputable. Everyone watches YouTube, and yet simultaneously looks down on it as a trashy platform. There's a strange Victorian condescension to YouTubers, like they're a group of organ-grinding monkeys. At the same time, at least in my experience, YouTube content is expected to be of the same quality as mainstream studio-produced shows, while still being free. Viewers don't seem to register any contradiction here. Content must be excellent, free, and also made by a bunch of seedy wretches. I formed my channel when I recognized that YouTube was the future of entertainment. Simple as that. I might not admit to people that I'm a YouTuber, because to do so is to face immediate disgrace, but I can see the power of the platform, and that's why I joined. So I'm enjoying taking a minute to bask in the reflected glory of a YouTuber who succeeded where he wasn't supposed to. Being a YouTuber is trashy, even when you have 30 million followers. A YouTuber is not supposed to be a success in Hollywood. They actually removed Iron Lung from box office charts so that no one could see that it was beating all the other movies in the box office on its opening weekend. What fear that shows! If you want to know how well this movie succeeded, look at the fact that Hollywood tried to pretend it didn't. Yes, the Calibans of YouTube are coming for your box office charts, and they will win. On that note, I'm off. Thanks for listening. This is Rose with Rose-Colored Movies. This is not an expedition. It is an execution. When they put you in here, they don't want you to return. And even if you do, and even if they keep their promises, what freedom waits for you? A few dying ships and a sea of dead stars? If there is still hope, it lies beyond the veil. Hope in this world is as illusionary as the starlight. I will choose to breathe my last at the bottom of an ocean, unseen, unheard, and uncontrolled. They will get their execution. I will get my freedom.